Hello, my name is Ida, and I'm a curvy model, and I'm a size 46. Sometimes I'll be asked if I'm the makeup artist or if I'm the assistant, and then I'm like, I'm the model. They're like, oh, okay. Like they're still adapting to the fact that models comes in all shapes and sizes, and that's why. So I think as a straight size model, you'll walk in and people will immediately be like, okay, that's the model. Growing up, I always saw the Victoria's Secret models and I was like, oh my God, they're like my superheroes. But I also knew that I could never fit in that shape. So I was like, always thinking, okay, maybe next year I'll be weighing like 50 kilos. And then next year, no.
Any cultural prejudice, it's something that we teach our children. But we teach them very early on in many different ways. The child will meet those ideas everywhere, both in TV, in the kindergarten, and all of these things contribute to a poor self-image.
The word fat is just bound with so much negativity in general, but that's also because how my brain has been programmed to feel about being fat. And that's also why I think it's amazing that there is some people who are just completely taking ownership of this word.
I'm Regina. I'm 34 years old and I'm a professional fat activist. Fat is just a word. It's just a describer of size. We need to learn to use this word because the fear of the word fat is a part of fat phobia. That fat is the worst thing you can be, so we use it as a slur. Reclaiming it takes the power out of it. Yes.
By using her platform to empower, give talks, and share her experiences, Regina aims to remove the social stigmas around fatness.
Fat people get stigmatized very early in life. Because there is this belief in our society that fat is a bad thing. And so even little children will know that being fat is bad. And also both the authorities and parents will be very anxious about this fat child. So they will also perhaps try to put the child on a diet.
When I talk to fat people, almost every person who has been fat as a kid has an adult in their life who offered them money to lose weight. For me, it was my grandfather, 100 kroner per kilo, and I come from a poor family, so that was a lot of money.
People who are fat phobic have an abnormal and irrational fear of being fat and being around fat people. There are a lot of reasons for this. One of them is that they believe being fat is unhealthy.
Many of the diseases that are statistically correlated with fatness could actually also be explained not by the fat tissue in the body, but by this level of stress that fat people are living with.
In 2013, I saw Ashley Graham and Marquita Pring, and I discovered this whole world of plus size modeling and also in general just this body positive activism. And that was when I really was like, okay, I could actually be that. I feel like, yeah, okay, I feel like I look good. So I was like, let me just try and see.
After getting rejected a few times, Ida got her first modeling contract in London.
So right now I'm going to a casting at my agency, Scoop Models, where Mango, the clothing company, they're just casting a lot of people just so they know what they could choose from potentially for future jobs.
At her first job, Ida had a lot of overwhelming feelings.
Am I gonna be good enough? Do they understand that my size is how it is with the clothes fit? So this table tends to become very messy because there's just not so much space and so many things. Another worry was also definitely about would they be able to put makeup on my face, foundation in a tone that actually fits my skin color. Because if you don't do that with dark-skinned girls, like we get this very gray skin tone. And now we have our office again. There can be a lot of judgment towards plus-size modelings, like they're being lazy or they're just eating and they're not working out.
And what we find is that when you live with this basic level of stress all the time, every time you leave the house, you are afraid of being discriminated against. That creates a ground level of stress in your life that is really detrimental to your body, and it can particularly affect your cardiovascular system. If you want to improve your cardiovascular health, you can exercise. That is the best medicine. And that doesn't have anything to do with your body weight.
I really try to work out at least 2 times a week, and then sometimes it can even be 3, 4, or maybe 5 times a week. So yeah, I definitely think it's really important to work out, both for mental health, but also for my body, and also to be able to perform well at my work. Getting the, the contract in itself was a really big deal, because then it was like you had on paper, okay, you are actually good enough, even though I think it's stupid that I had to go through all of that and able to feel like accepted. I think today, like, I'm happy for my body, but of course I have days where I'm like, no, this is really annoying. Like if my stomach was more flat, or if my stretch mark was not here, like all of these things, I think it's normal to have good days and bad days. I think by age, it's just, and also just by what you expose yourself to, you just become more comfortable and confident in yourself, and then you just have much less bad days. Today I'm helping Mio with direction at their photo shoot, which I think is fun because, and also I have a lot of experience because of my years in the modeling, and I actually really enjoy being on the other side of the camera and having like creative inputs on how to do stuff and like how to set people up in like different constellations and all that. So yeah, I'm just gonna be here today to help making as many cool and creative pictures and video clips as possible. Through the years, I really figured out that modeling isn't my dream. People maybe ask like, so then why are you in this industry? To be honest, I really am working towards getting out of it, because I can feel that it is not where I want to be. For other people to tell you how your presence or your look is and have a judgment on it, I don't think that's healthy in any way.
You use these shorts.
For instance, I had a job and they wanted me to wear paddings to make me be bigger. And not only one-time padding, like they were like, when I came out with the padding I had on, they were like, no, more padding. So I had to go in and get even more padding. So I was like really like so big, and they were like, yes, this is perfect. If I had a period, for instance, where I was working out a lot, and I was like also eating like really, really healthy, but then I don't know, I just started losing weight. So I think I lost all my clients for 4 months because I became too skinny. I think that can also mess with your mind sometimes, because then you're like, okay, I'm skinny or I'm not big enough.
The fashion industry is slowly catching on to the fact that excluding fat people from their brand and their branding, on the one hand, is old-fashioned because it signals non-inclusiveness.
Oh, this is an extra large. It's like
The fashion industry is like a chapter for itself in fat phobia. Some brands make actual plus size, and then they call themselves size inclusive. But like size inclusive brands often don't make clothes bigger than to fit my body, and a lot of fat people are fatter than I am. What fat people can wear, I like a tight fit, but when you're fat, it's not totally allowed.
But there's also a limit to that. You will very often see that when a plus size line is being advertised, it is always the smaller sizes that is put on display.
And still, even though this is a shop selling clothes for fat people, that is the models they use to show how the clothes for fat people look on a not skinny, but still a thin mannequin.
I had a meeting with Matilda and her team and also talked to her about how she could really bring in inclusivity in a way where it wasn't like one representative, but where it was actually real inclusivity. I also hope that companies really start also embracing more of different shapes so that it's not like the convenience shape of society that it has to be hourglass, but also it could be other shapes.
After working as a model for 5 years, Ida started her own business called ISO, a company that sells breast tape.
What I really hope that I change is for the people who see the ads, that there's other girls that maybe looks like me who are younger and then feel like, okay, I can be beautiful, like, because that was definitely something I needed growing up, to see someone that looked like me. My best self-love tip is definitely that you have to talk to yourself like you talk to your friends. I don't even mean only by size, I mean also by color as well. So my plan is that right now I'm just working in ISO and then I'm doing modeling on the side to pay my bills. And then the moment I can, I will leave modeling and retire, and then I'll just work on my business.